Rubber Soul is the sixth studio album by the Beatles released on December 3rd, 1965. It was also one of the first Beatles albums to contain only original material. Alright, I'm just messing with you guys. Hardwired to Self-Destruct is the 10th studio album by the legendary metal band Metallica, released on November 18th, 2016. Now, I know this review is about 5 months too late, but I finally picked this up, anticipating the sound of the album. This is also the last of the albums released by the Big Four within a year from each other, with the exception of Slayer's Repentless, which was released in September 2015. Although I like to consider that album a 2016 album, only because I like to think that the Big Four are releasing their albums in 2016 to commemorate 30 plus years of thrash metal. Anyway, this Metallica album is one that we the fans have been waiting for since Death Magnetic, and I gotta say, after listening to this album, it was well worth the wait. This was the Metallica album I have been waiting for. Now, before this album was released, I heard a couple of songs from that album as singles, and one of those songs gave me that anticipation for the album. When I picked it up, I was ready, and I don't mean just ready, I mean I was ready, notebook and pencil in hand, to listen to and critique this album. This album is mostly a throwback to either early Metallica albums or have influences of bands from the new wave of British heavy metal, or the NWOBHM. Whew, that was a mouthful. Which isn't surprising, given the fact that Metallica and other thrash metal bands were influenced by those bands. The music was awesome, yet there was an instance where a couple of the clean parts in one song in particular seem out of place, with the exception of the final one in that song. But the heavier riffs made up for those clean parts. Most of the lyrics were solid. Most of the songs I rated, according to my opinion, were 4 out of 5. But the album isn't without its 5 out of 5 rated songs, nor were there any rated lower than 4 out of 5. That is how good this album is. One of the songs that I like sounded like a mesh of material from either Load or Reload and Sad But True, due to its similar dark tone to All Nightmare Long from their previous album, Death Magnetic. Another had a more Black Sabbath vibe, while giving a different perspective of the album. And when I say different perspective, I don't mean it's full of throwbacks or new wave of British heavy metal influences, just different perspective. As in, like, something new for the album. As some of you may know, this is the first Metallica album not to have any songwriting contributions by Kirk Hammett, since he joined the band in 1983. All of the music was written by James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich, with the exception of one song, which was written by those two guys and Robert Trujillo. And speaking of whom, the band had great chemistry in this album. The solos were awesome, the drums were pounding, the bass was well vibrated, and Hetfield gave it his all vocally. I made some terrible puns. I'm gonna regret when I put it up here. My favorite songs, ranked from least to most favorite, are Am I Savage, Halo on Fire, Here Comes Revenge, Dream No More, Man Unkind, Spit Out the Bone, and Moth into Flame. These songs are worth headbanging to. Now, I only got the standard release of the album, not the 3-disc deluxe edition, solely because, well, to be honest, I didn't really care for the third disc, since it's mostly live tracks. However, I would like to talk about the other bonus tracks, which are covers, and another original track which was released as a single as well. Now, here are my final thoughts on this album. This is an awesome album to listen to just for the hell of it. I enjoyed every minute of it. I listened to the whole album like 3 times. A couple of those were just for the review though. Like Pitchfork, I believe this is easily their best album since their 1991 album Metallica, or as many might call it, the Black Album. As much as I'd like to hear how it would have been had Kirk Hammett contributed to the songwriting, I can assure that I am satisfied. And I'm gonna give this album a 4.5 out of 5. I should also mention that Hardwired to Self-Destruct is going platinum. That's a good thing. And do I recommend it? Hell yeah, I do. This album is awesome and really badass. Alright, so guys, have you heard this album? If you have, let me know in the comments below. Tell me what you think about the album. Positive or negative? Is it their best? Is it their worst? In your opinion? Also, subscribe if you have not subscribed yet, and give this video a thumbs up if you can. And as always, stay metal.